It's a well-known fact that I don't enjoy Sasuke as a person, as a father, as a friend for Naruto. Hell, I've made entire videos about how he's the worst character in anime, period. But there's one thing that never sat right with me about Sasuke. Well, there's many things that never sat right with me, but this is one that I want to bring up to you. The story of how he formed Taka makes very little sense, specifically as to why Karin is on the team and why she's so in love with him. But before we get into this theory, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. So before we dive into this theory, let's talk about what Taka is. Taka is Sasuke's pseudo Akatsuki spinoff. Essentially, Orochimaru got his rising all-star team all together and had them follow Sasuke. This band of winners included Sasuke, Suigetsu, Karin, and Jugo. As to why each of these individual people is with Orochimaru, they all have different reasons. Jugo is being used by Orochimaru to study his clan-specific Kekkei Genkai. Orochimaru is using that clan's ability to pull in nature energy just naturally to create the curse seal and perfect it. Suigetsu has a clan-specific Kekkei Genkai as well that's called hydrification. That allows him to make any part of his body liquid to avoid attacks, to sneak into places, you get it. Karin is one of the last Uzumakis on Earth. She is the only person that we know that is alive that can use Mind's Eye of the Kagura, and she has the Uzumaki clan ability to share chakra with other people in order to heal them. And then of course there's Sasuke, who was just angry that his friend was almost as strong as him. And Orochimaru wants to use his body because Sasuke is technically the perfect vessel. So sure, all of these people have come to Orochimaru. That's completely fine. This man has his little snake tentacles everywhere. He's gonna snag anybody up who's angsty or doesn't want to be home anymore. And I can understand why Jugo and Suigetsu would join Sasuke in his little adventure. Jugo is a very simple man who wants to be subservient to the people around him and help others. Sasuke is a very domineering personality, which makes Jugo feel safe considering the fact that he doesn't have to be in charge. He's a pacifist with a rocket for an arm. Now, Suigetsu is looking for all the 7 swords of the mist. This is because his brother Mangetsu had wielded all 7 of them in his time with the 7 swordsmen of the mist. So Suigetsu figured if while he was out on this adventure, he would most likely bump into powerful people who had these swords. He would then be able to fight them, get those swords back. But Karin is a weird one. The easy answer is,
well, Nick, is because Karin's in love with Sasuke.
and yes, that is why she tags along on Taka outside of Orochimaru telling her to go as well. But why does she love Sasuke? This is a woman who says her level of attractiveness is based off the quality of somebody's chakra. This is why she hates Suigetsu, because she says his chakra quality is very poor. And in the beginning, she is dazzled by Sasuke's, I guess, level of chakra, but is terrified by how dark it is. Because if you've watched my Susanoo video, and if you haven't, it's right about here, you'll know that the more hatred you have in your heart, the darker your chakra is, and this manifests into Susanoo's. So Karin, who is about as high as it gets in terms of level of sensor ninja, and can see chakra networks from dozens of kilometers away, is constantly looking at this very dark chakra, the sole basis of what she uses to find a man attractive. And yet, she's still attracted to him. And then of course there's the whole he treats her like dirt thing. He treats her like a med kit in Fortnite. But the reason she's in love with him is because he saved her during the Chunin exams. Specifically, when Sasuke saw her being attacked by a bear, he beat up the bear and then checked to see what scroll she had. It was at this point that he saw that she also had an Earth scroll, so he left her alone with a smile. Imagine this, Chunin exam Sasuke, who just got his curse mark, which is going out of control. The man who literally snapped a man's arms just for looking at him wrong. Remember that scene, the foot on the back and the pole? Oh my God. And yet, hundreds of episodes later, we're to believe that Sasuke, this very same Sasuke who was a menace to society, was out saving people that weren't on his team, somehow away from Naruto and Sakura, and then after he saved them, he smiled at them? How often do we see Sasuke smile? The answer is never.
But Nick, Karin remembers it.
And that's the problem, because what Karin remembers could very well be a fabrication. What do I mean, a fabrication? Well, let's look at a moment for the person that she spent the majority of her life living with. Karin was from the Hidden Grass Village. That's where she supposedly competed in the Chunin exams with. But when Orochimaru found her and then found out about her insane healing ability, he took her with him. Having failed the Chunin exams after the second round, being unable to collect 2 of the different types of scrolls, she was impartial to an existence in the Hidden Grass still. So there she is, arriving in Orochimaru's hideout at roughly the same time as Sasuke, a girl with a magnificent healing prowess, sure to keep Sasuke alive for as long as she is next to him, assuming that she wants to. I mean, this girl has saved Sasuke's lives more time than I can count. Did you just get stabbed 8 times by Killer B? Bite me. Did you just get blown sky high by Datara? Bite me. Are you struggling against Danzo? Bite me. But think about this from Orochimaru's perspective. Sasuke is his perfect vessel. Currently, Orochimaru has to switch bodies every 3 years in order to maintain form. This is because they're imperfect vessels. After 3 years, the body starts to decompose and the soul starts to fight back against Orochimaru. But Itachi, Sasuke, and Kimimaro will all identify as perfect vessels for Orochimaru. People that Orochimaru would be able to live in for the rest of their lives and gain massive amounts of power. That's a chess piece you don't lose. So Orochimaru started to amass forces that could protect this vessel. And Karin was a very important piece of that puzzle. So Orochimaru manipulated her memories to make her remember Sasuke saving her in the Chunin exams. Because once again, there was no way the dude who was essentially on a roid rage for that entire 2 days they were in the forest and was also accompanied by both Naruto and Sakura for the majority of it was going to be helping people he didn't know or smiling. And I know what you're saying.
Can Orochimaru even do that?
And the answer is yes, he absolutely can. In fact, he's done it multiple times. Look at Anko, for example, since we're talking about the Forest of Death. Anko was the first generation of Orochimaru's abductee students. She became a student because Orochimaru tested his curse mark on 10 people. 9 of them died and only 1 survived, and that was Anko. This is how he created the 1 in 10 people survive the curse mark being placed rule. This is when Anko was 13 years old. And since she had received the curse mark and therefore was forever tied to Orochimaru, Orochimaru decided to train her. This is why she has mastery over snakes. It's why she's a very capable kunaichi. I actually misspoke. Orochimaru was her team leader. I forgot about that. Orochimaru led a Genin squad and he liked her, so he used her as a test subject for the curse seals. But after Anko receives the curse seal, she decides she no longer wants to follow Orochimaru. This is mostly because he was asking her to kill people and she didn't want to do that. But Orochimaru didn't want to kill Anko because she was a very important test subject. She was the first person he had ever successfully put a curse seal on. He wasn't just going to dispose of that test subject. So Orochimaru altered her memories to make her think that he abandoned her because she lacked the drive to fuel a curse mark, effectively making her forget that the curse mark existed on her. And also he made her forget where the lair was, a lot of the things he had taught her. So if she was interrogated by Konoha later on, she wouldn't be able to lead them back to Orochimaru. That's impressive enough. But Orochimaru also plays with memory much later on. In Boruto, we see that Orochimaru has made a drug that effectively wipes Mitsuki's memory. Orochimaru creates this drug because he's trying to make Mitsuki unlock Snake Sage mode. And in order to do it, Orochimaru wants Mitsuki in an unbiased, unknown situation. This unknown situation is essentially Orochimaru waking up Mitsuki and saying, I need you to go on a mission. This mission is to steal back information from somebody who stole information from Orochimaru. But the only problem is that this mission will only ever be completed if Mitsuki activates Snake Sage mode. And if he doesn't, which he doesn't do like 6 times, Orochimaru takes him, makes him forget all the things that's happened and resets the scenario. So we have now seen on 2 separate occasions Orochimaru's ability to alter memories. So ask yourself the question, what sounds more likely? Did Sasuke go out of his way during the Chunin exams in order to save somebody he didn't know and then proceeded to not break their arms like he did to other people he didn't know in the Chunin exams, and then smile at the person he saved as he went back to Naruto and Sakura, who he had somehow lost in this whole mishap? Or did Orochimaru, a man of great scientific means, identify a way to protect his most important asset, a body that would grant him 40 to 50 years of unprecedented strength, a body that he had already acquired a energy bank for in the form of Jugo, a guard in the form of Suigetsu, and now a healer in the form of Karin? And knowing Sasuke's proclivity to hate women, he wanted to make sure that that woman, who would keep him alive his entire life, would stick around to the degree that if Sasuke were to, I don't know, stab her in order to kill Danzo, that she would forgive him with a simple apology. The kind of deep-rooted mental manipulation that would be required for her to stick around through an incredibly abusive situation. Because sure, we can sit here and say,
Karin's just a woman who fell for a handsome man,
and ignore the fact that she went through literal hell to keep Sasuke alive, or we can look at it bit deeper and acknowledge the fact that the only people who would stay in this kind of situation are those being deeply manipulated. So in summation, Orochimaru is to blame for Sasuke's plot armor. And that's all I got on this theory. Please guys, let me know if you enjoyed the video below in my comments. Let me know if I've swayed your opinion on Sasuke or if I've taught you something you didn't know about Orochimaru. And while you're down there guys, please for me, like this video, subscribe to the page and hit that noti bell. Listen, I'm not saying it takes an army to create the amount of plot armor that Sasuke has, but many hands make light work.